Beck's got 3.5 million. Do you know what Beck has when he's on the radio? 12 million. Limbaugh's got 22 million. George Noory has 16 million. Google animatronics, what's it called? What's the Google system computer? Says I have 4+ million unique visitors to InfoWars alone each month. Google Analytics. Yes, there you go. I was engaging in ebonics, inventing words. Legends in their own mind. Legends. Finish up with this propaganda, then we're going to Webster Tarpley. Here it is.
The rights of the NRA and so forth. A lot of those same rejectionist front, if you will, are out there looking for a reason to find a conspiracy.
See, he's saying conspiracy theory. If you believe there's rights, he never says Second Amendment. It's always the NRA. See, which is a controlled opposition group. They never talk about your Second Amendment. It's always the NRA, turning your right into some group. It's all about miscasting, mislabeling. These guys are trained in this. Go back to him.
In the presidency of Barack Obama. There are just enough annoying little bureaucratic details that they can seize on, having to do with the original birth certificate, etc., which are all legally and factually beside the point. But there are enough of them that allows the people on the fringes of the party to do what they're going to do. And you know, when the river is low, the riverbed is exposed. The river is low.
Hit pause. Hit pause. Let's talk truth again, Mr. Deceiver. When Barack Obama was elected, Congress had an 11% approval rating. In kind of the fake euphoria, it went up to 15 points. It's back down to 11. Rasmussen, Gallup. I've got them all right here. Gallup poll. I've got another one here. Over 50% think it should be abolished, that everything's their fault. I mean, you guys are in trouble here. Obama's approval rating has fallen from 84 to below 50 in Rasmussen. So the river's low. It's Obama whose river's low. And yes, the Republicans are too. For the first time, we're having a real realignment. Obama was some psychological trick they tried to throw in of, well, he's got some brown skin. He's 6.5% African and 40-something% Arab and 50% Anglo-Saxon. They'll think he's black. And it's all hoaxes within hoaxes. So here's this guy saying the river's low, the Republicans are dead, they're all a bunch of conspiracy theorists, and the Republicans better run from these anti-New World Order, birther people, Second Amendment people. No, if the Republicans ran to that and ignored their lobbyist special interest, they would then become the populist and be swept to power. But see, the lobbyists and the media, it's their job to keep all these politicians are not that smart. They just follow what their advisors tell them, who are a bunch of propagandists. They try to demonize Ron Paul in a minute, and Matthews, being CIA, says, no, because they lost their fight demonizing him, so they've now capitulated. No, he's not with them. They don't want to give us, quote, anti-New World Order people the credibility of Ron Paul being associated with us. They already tried to destroy Paul with Bruno and everything else. It all failed. This is very sophisticated. So he's saying the river is low for the Republicans. Yeah, but it's even lower for Obama. And now the Republicans are talking about the New World Order and global government and carbon taxes and home inspections and national ID cards with all you buy, sell, and do. LA Times, New York Times today saying it's good and we need it. It's happening. It's total socialized control of your entire life under a fascist eugenics system. So, again, they're the ones that are low. They're the ones falling apart. They're the ones that are stopping and having to breathe. They're the ones dropping out of the marathon. We're the ones taking over the Democratic Party and Republican Party with true populism and liberty against their corporate fascism. Their labels of left and right are see-through. They got holes in them you can drive a Mack truck through. Their electronic Berlin Wall is faltering, is shorting out. And every time you speak the truth and ignore their lies, they get weaker. This pathetic guy is just tissue thick. And so, yeah, all the political parties in the establishment are in crisis. You're in crisis. Your riverbed is low. And so what you see is the real grassroots taking over what's left of the parties, and they are panicked. Go back to this little guy.
Republican Party right now, and you're seeing the rocks at the bottom.
Well, I can't wait till somebody hits the question to, or brings the question to Sarah Palin. And maybe that's bringing coal to Newcastle. But, I mean, I assume she will give something of a stutter as an answer. Here's, by the way, what are your thoughts? Ken, I haven't had you on the show lately, so I want to get your DNA here. You know, they have something called the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Test, which tests your sort of temperament. And I remember taking the test to be an RA in grad school, and they ask you questions, but do you like tennis or baseball, that kind of thing? Do you rather play chess, an indoor thing, or go outside, whatever? And then right in the middle of it, they say things like, is someone chasing you right now? And is someone trying to kill you? They intersperse those questions to catch the full mooners. I think a lot of these people who believe this stuff will say yes. Because if you believe this, you probably believe the worst.
All right, pause.
What are your thoughts?
See, these guys are total control freaks, and they can't stand the fact. Look at these full mooners. They're mentally ill. The psychological test show. Yeah, he just mixes in something about a test. Oh, it sounds scientific. They believe the borders are open. They believe the government wants their guns. They believe the banks are looting them. They believe there's a Bilderberg group. The Bilderberg's writing op-eds now in major papers calling for world government. So they're telling the dumbed-down TV watchers, don't listen to people that can read. Just they're crazy. Just stay on the reservation, and they're losing more and more of their minions. More and more people are going off the plantation. Oh, God, don't listen to them. Oh, God, oh, no. Finish it up. We're going to Tarpley.
Are we talking psychological problems here with people, or what?
Oh, yes.
I don't know. I mean, there are people who are certainly prone to embrace conspiracy theories. We see it with the idea that 9/11 was an inside job. We see it with the idea that the Bilderberg group meeting every year is, in fact, a global international banking cabal designed to institute a world government. And it just so happens that a lot of...
Do these guys realize how they're politically destroying themselves? I mean, do they understand that almost everyone now knows about Bilderberg and it's all over the news and their own corporate minutes have leaked and they brag they set up the European Union by covert stealth and that all of this is real? He's up. I mean, that's why they're discredited and falling apart, because they just keep lying. They don't even spin. Go back to it.
The folks who believe those things also believe the rest of them. And what Howard said is true. I mean, there are enough of them, particularly in the internet age, where they can be something of a force in politics, and one that Republicans have to watch out for, because they will drag them down into this, sort of marginal path.
Ken, I'm falling in love. You are great. You've reminded me of all the erogenous zones of insanity.
Pause. Hit pause. I'm going to go to Tarpley, and then we're going to play the rest later, but... See, they're afraid of real politics, real ideas breaking through, not this fake left-right thing they've kept us locked in, fighting with each other. And so they say, oh, I hope the Republicans get involved and get dragged in. And they're actually scared to death. Because all these years they said none of this existed. Now the public's finding out. We're on the verge of a revolution, a renaissance, an awakening, an enlightenment of understanding, thanks to people like Webster Griffin Tarpley, who said Obama was their man 9 months before he was elected, who laid it all out with Brzezinski, laid out all the policies, all the flip-flops. A man ahead of his time, laid out that he would stall within 150 days. It's now happened. He said he would have the lowest approval rating ever. It's happened. How on earth did you know this, Webster Tarpley?
Well, thank you, Alex. I think it was mainly a matter of having lived through the Carter trilateral puppet regime back in 1977 to 81, seeing Zbigniew Brzezinski back then, seeing Paul Adolph Volcker, seeing all the members of the Trilateral Commission who were so prominent in the Carter administration, from Carter and Mondale and Vance and so many others, Blumenthal at the Treasury, and so on. They were all handpicked by David Rockefeller and Brzezinski. This time they did it a slightly more sophisticated way, not so much actual membership in the Trilateral Commission, although we don't really know, but certainly the guiding hand was there. And now you've got Paul Adolph Volcker sitting in the White House, and Brzezinski really running a lot of the policy through somebody like Robert Gates, who was his office boy back 30 years ago, who now runs the Pentagon. So I think you're dealing with that. Now, I think the good news, though, is that this has now stalled. This entire Obama hysteria seems to be disintegrating at a fairly rapid rate, and he is now down to 49% in some of these polls.
But a cornered dragon is dangerous with all of his host of hell supporting him, all these powerful interests that are articulating this puppet. What are their tricks, their stage crises, synthetic terror? You told us what was coming a year and a half ago. Now tell us what's coming in the next year and a half. Webster Griffin Tarpley, stay with us. This is Alex Jones with important news. I want